Recording is in progress.
Okay, good evening. It's a little early, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition Show. I'm James Slim Overton, and I'm here with co-hosts Leah Drake Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman. Hello, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome back, Leah.
Oh, thank you.
And we're waiting on our guest. He will be with us shortly. He's coming from one meeting to this, so we might have to just get a little started. But Leah, as far as good news, tell us what you'll be going to this weekend.
Well, I'm excited.
See one of our former guests.
Yes, on tomorrow, I'm going to my granddaughter's graduation from North Carolina A&T University.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Lane. So I'm excited that we're going down to see her walk across that stage. She said, I'm not ready. I need to stay here a little bit longer. I said, girl, you got to get up out of there. You gotta get up out of there.
Those years do go by fast. And
yes, it does.
Especially when those college days are summer and HBCU and at any college day, but especially HBCUs.
Yes.
It's such a great time of your life, and you never want it to end because a lot of things happen to you. You go through a lot of emotions, go through a lot of highs and lows. You get to know people, meet people from other areas. You get to know not everybody means you well.
Exactly.
It's a lot of life lessons learned there, along with your studies in the classroom and outside the classroom. So and it seems like they go so fast, you know.
It goes so fast, and sometimes transition is so hard. Change thing, it gets so hard, so.
And a lot of students now prepare themselves when they're there. So when they make that transition into the new world, is she planning on going into the workforce, or is she gonna
well, she's waiting she's waiting to hear about the future school that she's going to, and she says if push comes to shove, she's looking to do a little work until it comes through, and just getting herself prepared.
Well, just take her time. She doesn't have to,
Oh, she doesn't have to rush. And the thing is,
finishing up 4 years of college, burning the midnight oil.
Exactly.
It doesn't all. It's not all fun and games.
Oh no,
a lot of serious work to earn that degree. So
right.
What was her major?
She's in criminal justice.
Okay.
So she's looking at law school.
Okay, good.
Okay.
She's looking at law school. So.
Well,
let's see which direction she goes with it. But I told her, I said, so if you're thinking criminal justice, I said, at least think about entertainment law or contractual law, something of that nature.
One of those fields that it's not a lot of Black females in. Just like the Hawthorne girl. What's her first name?
Yeah, Crystal. She's in contract and entertainment law.
Yeah.
So yes, indeed. So we'll see which direction she goes in,
We wish her all the luck.
Yes, indeed.
And Leah, something else, of course, you've been real busy with the Norcom alumni with the big event coming up this fall.
Yes.
And one thing that I think people hadn't realized, that the big event is going to be in September, but we're still having a homecoming in October. So
homecoming
it's
in
two big opportunities, because the homecoming is going to have the parade and everything.
Yes, October 20th. So this is a big year for Norcom High School, in as much as through research we were able to find out that the school, actually, if you look at the actual origin of the school, it is 145 years old. If you follow the origin of the Black schools in Portsmouth, that was the only Black school in Portsmouth for so long, high school. So we found it's 145 years. So we really have a lot to celebrate. A lot of events that's going to take place this year, and to honor the legacy of Israel Charles Norcom, and to bring that history out so people can know about the man, the legend, Israel Charles Norcom, and all that he contributed to the city of Portsmouth. So we have a lot of work that we're doing, and like we have a golf tournament, which is coming up on May 26th. At the By the Week Golf Club. We still can sign up if you want to play golf. You can still purchase a hole a placket to go on the holes, on certain holes at the golf, for the golf tournament, your name, you can put your name, your school, your class, whatever you want to put on it.
And we're going to be represented on one of those holes there.
Yes, you are. Portsmouth Coffee Talk. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice if you could come out, James, and
Yeah.
I'll be working, but it'd be nice if you and Colonel can come out and film the folks who are coming out to play golf, you know.
Well, I'll be out there with my camera, and
Well,
you know,
good.
it's going to be a big weekend then too. That's the weekend of the Emoja Festival.
Emoja Festival
So you can
weekend.
go play golf, and then I don't know when the first day is, but
The first
it
day
might,
for Emoja is usually on a Friday, isn't it?
yeah. So it might be, but it's usually around 5 o'clock. So you can
5
go
o'clock.
in the
Yeah.
morning
Yeah.
and play golf, and then put on your African
Put on
attire and go to
Put on
the
your African attire and
Emoja
come out
Fest
and celebrate
for
the
the
history.
opening, and watch the elders give permission to open the Emoja Festival.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, so
it's
it's
gonna
gonna be a great
big
weekend.
weekend in Portsmouth. Yeah.
Yeah, a big weekend.
Yeah.
And you know, and I'm just so happy that Senator Lucas, Lynn Browley, and I went last Sunday to see Mr. Bob Triplett. Anyone who knows, and I'm only doing this because Bob has given me permission. I asked him permission first, okay?
Mhm.
And Bob is the young man who usually sits on the corner of High and Court Street, and he sells peanuts.
Mhm.
And from those peanut sales, he has given scholarships to Norcom students. He just recently gave us a $1,500 scholarship for a Norcom student.
Mhm.
He gave us money for scholarship last year. He has given to the Education Foundation. He has really supported education in the city of Portsmouth. And Bob has been a little under the weather, but as he tells me, come clear weather, he's going to be back on the corner of
Back
High
out there.
Street selling those peanuts, because he said he got some more money to give to some more students.
Yeah, and keep
But
in
we were,
mind that
yeah, we were
that
blessed.
money he makes goes to the students. And the
Goes
peanuts are good. I bought the peanuts, and
the peanuts are
sells
very
either
good.
salty or unsalty. So
Very
for
good.
health reasons, you can go with the unsalty.
Exactly. And we were just so happy that we were able to present to him his lifetime plaque as a lifetime member of IC Norcom High School. And he said, oh my goodness, y'all gonna make me cry. You're gonna bring me to tears. I said, well, Bob, they have to be tears of joy, because you've been such a blessing to so many that we wanted to be a blessing to him. And we're glad that we were able to give him his lifetime plaque. And he said he was putting it up in his room so everybody could see when they come into his room that he's a lifetime member of the IC Norcom Alumni Association.
And you must make note of too, in the 80s, he was one of the few Black businessmen that had a business down in High Street in the Old Town district.
That's right. He had the newsstand down there.
Newsstand there for years, and
yes. And that newsstand he eventually sold to Otis Lucas.
Yeah,
who then ran the newsstand there. So
right.
yeah, Bob has really been a blessing to so many people, not just the students, but to so many people in the city of Portsmouth. And so it was just good that we could get there to see him and to put our eyes on him, to touch him, to talk to him, to hug him, to love him. It was just a good afternoon on Sunday afternoon.
Indeed. And
Yeah.
Colonel, while we're waiting on our guests, maybe we can talk about what we were talking about before we came on air. But before you do that, Leah, you talked about IC Norcom in 145 years. I think at some point we're gonna have to look at these elementary schools that originally, like Douglas Park and Mount Herman, that were, Truxton is no longer there. But Douglas Park and Mount Herman, I think they're the only two. Well, Brighton. There are only 3 original Black elementary schools.
Exactly.
That are still in existence, and a lot of the other new elementary schools are new. I mean, they not original.
No, they're not the original schools that were there for us as we were coming up, know?
Right. So at some point we're gonna have to recognize that, because those
Yes,
schools are
indeed.
still doing their thing as far as educating our young kids. So
And you know what? And the interesting thing is that I was out at Charles Peak Little League the other day at a Little League game, and we just recently learned that Charles Peak also went to IC Norcom High School. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
He didn't graduate from Norcom, but he did go to Norcom,
Yeah, and I hate to admit this, for years I always heard the Charles Peak name when I was little coming up, but I didn't realize he was Black until
Yeah, exactly,
for years,
exactly,
because everything around when we were small were named after white folks.
exactly.
Oh yeah. Hey, and I just saw this, Colonel.
Yeah.
Fort Lee.
Mhm.
Fort Lee in Petersburg has renamed Fort Lee after, you might know the general's name, but they named after a general and a lieutenant colonel who was a female. And they
Yes.
renamed Fort Lee, that was named after Robert E. Lee, and they just
Wow,
renamed it after two African-American officers of the military.
that is
One male, one female, one general, one lieutenant colonel.
wonderful.
Actually, DOD, Department of Defense, is going and looking at all those bases that are named after these Confederates. Like Fort Bragg is going to change too. And so it's about time. And they tried to do it, well, they floated it during the Trump administration, but him being the chief racist in country, denied it and said they couldn't do it. So now that we have somebody that believes in inclusion and diversity, President Joe Biden, we can get this done.
Yeah, I just happened to run across that today, and I just, scrolling down, I said, "Oh wow," and I hope it gets the press it deserves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. I do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a big weekend coming up the end of the month. I mean, my goodness, we're going to be quite busy in the next couple of weeks preparing for all this taking place.
Oh yeah, and we can mention that Saturday it's going to be a mental health walk.
That's right, on
Sponsored
George
by
Washington.
Bond
Yeah,
Secures and Bank of Virginia, a lot of other companies
yeah, and
that would take
Letitia
place.
Sessoms, Connecting Communities.
Yeah,
and they're going to
and
have vendors. They're going to have vendors out there, and they're going to have the walk and time for you to pick up information on your health. Individuals will be participating. So go out. What time does it start, James? Was it 10 o'clock Saturday morning?
I think it's 10 or 9. I'll look that up before the show is over. I'll pull up the flyer, but it's off on George Washington Highway at the shopping center is called Williams Court. It's Williams Court 1 and 2 because part of it is it's right on the corner of Victory and George Washington Highway, where the food line is there and Ollie's, and other things. So get out there and go ahead. I'm gonna look this up and see exactly what time.
Yeah.
It is.
So, Colonel, what interesting things will you be doing this weekend? You still have your honeydew list, I know.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I'm writing down some stuff I got tomorrow, even before the weekend. Lord have mercy. Yes. But it's all good. I'll get it done. Because this is my list right here.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So I'm gonna try and knock some of it off tomorrow. Yeah, so it's one of those things. It never ends. It
never ends.
Yeah.
For whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes.
So we expect great things from you, Colonel.
Yeah. So of that, you say he gave $1,500 for the scholarship. So what's the how many scholarships are you planning on doing this year?
Well, this year we had only 8 students to apply for scholarships for Norcom, and we're going to give all 8 applicants a scholarship. And not only that, because this is our 145th year, we are going to give each graduating senior $50 from the Alumni Association. Just to show them that we appreciate them. We appreciate them making it through these 4 years at IC Norcom High School.
I'm gonna go mute there for a minute. I just looked up here and Glen is asking how to get on. So I'm gonna go mute and give him a call.
Okay. So we expect
graduating class.
250. When I came in as president this year, my goal was to give every student something from the Alumni Association, to make them aware of the fact that there is an Alumni Association and make them aware of the fact that we are there for them, as well as the fact that they need to also take consideration of giving back.
Yes.
some people say $50 is not a lot, but to some people, $50 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
At least you may buy half a book for that, but at least it's something for each student, you know. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, I always said it's more than you had before.
Amen. Amen. So yeah, we're gonna look out for our students, and we recently on Monday we had a wonderful luncheon for the teachers at Norcom for Teacher Appreciation Day. And we had a complete salad bar, better than the one that you see at what is that? Applebee's, not Applebee's. Yeah, Applebee's. It was better than Applebee's, not Applebee's, the other one.
The other one across the street. Oh, Lord have mercy. I just went there the other day. Last week. I know what you're talking about, though.
We had an amazing salad bar, and the teachers were very appreciative. And not only did we give them the salad bar, we gave each of them a bag saying that we appreciate you from the IC Norcom Alumni Association. And it was a good day. It was a good day at IC Norcom High School.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Time is flying, though.
Time is moving on. It's not waiting for any of us, that's for sure. Banter, banter, banter.
Yeah, I'm still helping Glenn to get on. So
okay.
I wonder how many of our listeners or watchers watched the town hall last night.
Oh my Lord.
That was a Trump.
What say you?
Well, that wasn't a town hall. That was a white supremacist meeting last night.
That's exactly what it was.
Yes. Filled with nothing but lies, 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 lies. And a total disgrace for CNN to actually put that kind of stuff on and let him get away with it.
You're right about that. And he got away with it too.
Yes. And when he called the moderator, she's nasty, I wish she would sue him too.
Yeah, they need to stop him in his tracks.
Yep.
He just can't keep talking about people the way that he does, you know.
And people gotta, if he said that to me, I'd give it right back to him. But that's the problem. People don't give it back to him right there in real time.
Exactly. Exactly.
He's a punk.
Indeed he is.
He's a punk. Yep.
So they just allow such craziness to go on, you know?
Yep, I know. And he just lied so many lies. You just can't keep up with it. But it does show you, if he should get back in the House, in the White House, America is in trouble. In
real trouble.
Yes. And actually people of color are even more trouble because he does not, he hates us. Because he says black folks don't vote for him no way. And you think he hates you now? You wait till the DA in Philadelphia and my lady in Georgia. You wait till they all come after him. He's really going to hate you then. Yep, yep. They got to hurry up and come on out there and charge him and get him in court before he gets to the presidency, though. But they say they don't think it's going to take place before the election. Yeah, they've got to hurry up. Yes, indeed. They've got to expedite it.
Yes, so he's coming in there. Hello, Glenn.
Hello, Glenn.
Well, he's still connecting, so he'll be in a little bit. Hey, Glenn, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. A little choppy, but
hello.
Can you hear us? Yeah, we hear you.
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Well, welcome, Glenn. I'm glad you finally got on. Can you?
Thank you. I'm glad to be on.
Now, you're a little dark. Can you? You're on your phone, I think. Can you get somewhere where you can shine a little bit more light on your face?
Yeah. Okay. I'm leaving my Democratic committee meeting.
Yeah, I know you're black and proud, but we want to see
you. Is this a little better?
That's a lot better.
A lot better, yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and welcome, and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition show. And for those who are watching, we have Mr. Glen Francis here, entrepreneur, businessman,
hardest working man in Portsmouth.
Hardest working man in Portsmouth, and also radio talk host that has the show, and we'll let him tell a lot about what he's doing. And Glenn, I first met Glenn a long time ago, and I don't ever remember you, Glenn, working for anybody. You always been your own boss. You always been an entrepreneur. You know, that's at least the time I met you, and had dealings with you. So, what was your you always had that drive to be your own boss. So, what was your motivation coming up? And let me mention, you went to Woodrow Wilson High School, and
I also went to IC Northam as well. I played football briefly at Northam.
Oh, okay.
And matter of fact, unfortunately, I'm the only one out of 5 boys who don't have a IC Northam diploma. But I know what it was like to play football for Joe Langston. I know what it was like to be in those historical pet rally settings.
Yeah.
And to walk the halls of Northam. So even though my 4-year in high school didn't finish as I would like, but I know what that experience was, and it was nothing other than outstanding and fantastic.
Yeah.
So you had the best experience ever in your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Being
Absolutely.
in Israel Charles Norcom High School under the great Joe Langston.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also went to Norfolk State High School.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
and I also want to mention, I think my 7th year, second term on the planning commission, going into my last year, Glenn joined us on the planning commission. So I had a chance to serve with him on the planning commission. And when I left, he continued on. But that was good times too. You know, we saw a lot of things that you might see out here today. That's
Absolutely
a part of our being involved on the planning commission. So I'll go back to your motivation for always being an entrepreneur and working for yourself. Now, were there any times you worked for somebody else?
Yes, when I finished at Norfolk State, I worked for the Norfolk Naval Shipyard, Public Works Engineering, for a brief time, and it was just something in my heart that wanted me to, to do something on my own, and it was so ironic. I used to love going to the CIAA basketball tournaments, and when it left Greensboro and came back to Scope, I said, I was, matter of fact, I think it was before I finished Norfolk State. I said, I got to be a part of this. I remember the stories of my older brothers, William Francis, they called him Sprout, and my older brother Earl Francis, who were both Norfolk grads in Norfolk State. And they would talk about the stories of Pee Wee Kirkland and Bobby Dandridge and Earl the Pearl Monroe, all of those great shootouts. And I'm a sports advocate. I played sports. I love basketball. And so when it came to Scope, I said, I got to figure out how can I be involved? How can I be involved? And so Johnny Jones, I know you were talking about Bob Triplett, who's a friend of mine. Bob Triplett, I was next door to Bob when he had the newsstand because I had copy work.
Yeah,
right. That's right. That's right.
And Bob Triplett is awesome. This conversation that we are having right now about that you guys had about Bob is ironic because I knew Bob has left Portsmouth in terms of his residency, but I went to where he lived at on Effingham trying to catch up with him today. Because often when we would have church in action, we had it there in the building that Bob once lived. I would go upstairs and sit down and just break bread with him and glean from his wisdom and knowledge. Because that's how much of a hero to me that he is. And but yeah, I was told he now lives in Norfolk somewhere, and I need to get with Leah to find out where he lives at.
Definitely.
So when Johnny Jones had the print shop, before I got it from Johnny, I went to Mr. Jones and asked him, I said, look, I want to do some social events for the tournament. We have a hotel. Will you print the flyers for us free? Now, this was before they were doing these, the flyers that they do now. I guess I was before my time. This was back in the early 80s when the CIAA came from, I guess it left from Greensboro, it came to Norfolk Scope, and then they had to stay at Hampton a brief time. But during that period, I put together a hotel room. My brothers were living in New York, but I did all the legwork. I had Nabisco Company, Mid-Atlantic Coca-Cola, Art Jared. We had hospitality suites. So I printed up flyers so that it would attract people to come to our suites. So when Mr. Jones was about to leave this area, he was working for Foster Grant, and he thought that he was going to have to move to New Jersey. He asked me, did I want to buy the print shop? It was 4 of us. He asked 4 of us. The young lady who worked for him was a graduate of South Carolina State. She was doing the day-to-day work for him because he worked a full-time job. So 2 of us took advantage of the young lady who from South Carolina who worked for him day-to-day, and I and the other 2 folk declined. So that's how I became an entrepreneur in my early 20s. I was about 23 or 24. I just left Norfolk State. I had gotten a job. I was working at the shipyard, but I wanted just something in my spirit that said, hey, do something on your own. And that's how I became an entrepreneur at a young age. With that experience, all the Black elected officials were coming to me, letting me do their printing, their business cards, letterheads, envelopes, any printing things that they need. My degree was in graphic design. So I had a background in the printing, marketing, communication industry. So therefore, that was a plus. So that's how I got into the entrepreneurial realm or entrepreneurial world.
And you know what, Glenn? That's a great story. And it's kind of funny, and it's a lesson for young folks coming around, is that like when the opportunity to take over or buy the print shop, you bust it on the door and you walk through it. And when you can't be afraid, as a lesson, can't be afraid to take on new challenges. And that's what you did. And so that's a lesson for young folks, I believe.
No question about it. And another thing that I think I had to my advantage was I had it was 6 of us all together. I'm the youngest of 6, but I had 3 that were in my age range that I watched. I had role models. I didn't necessarily need, and I don't knock this, role models off TV or off the movie stream. I had role models in my house, but I had a hardworking mother who loved us, and who, in anything that we would take on, she would be a champion for us and be right there with us. But I had 3 brothers that I watched. They were decent, good men who believed in hard work, believed in family, believed in decency, and in doing things in a good order. And so those role models helped me to define myself and wanted to be someone that would do things in the community, that would be involved in what was going on around me, and put in my efforts towards positive things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Glenn, I tell you, James, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, you know what? In all these efforts that you had, all the things that you've been doing, how long have you been involved in the Emoji Festival?
From its inception, Dr. Patton and former Councilman Johnny Clemens' wife were the co-chairs, and they both asked me to be a part of the executive committee and be a part of the committee. So I've been involved with the Emoji Festival from its conception, and because it being at that particular point a city entity, which it still is, they couldn't go out and solicit ads. Their staff couldn't go out and solicit ads from the business community to put together a souvenir journal. So myself, along with the Church Community Action, took that project on, and we've been doing it for 31 years.
31 years. 31 years. Been,
2 years, of course, 2 years because of the pandemic. Other than 2 years of the pandemic, we have put a book together.
Yes.
So what do we have to look forward to this year? Dates and times and events.
Well, the
Boys to Men,
the 26th through the 29th, and we've had a successful campaign in terms of businesses participating. You're going to be surprised. We're going to put out 1,000 books. That'll be the most that we've ever put out in terms of the variety and of businesses that are in the region that we've had to get involved this year. Is going to be outstanding. You're going to be pleasantly surprised of the diversity in terms of businesses and organizations that will be participating. Let me say this: I went to a funeral on Saturday, and I went to a giant of business person in Hampton Roads, and I wasn't satisfied or pleased with the turnout. I went to Herman Valentine's funeral.
Herman
He
Valentine,
was
yeah.
well before his time. I celebrated him. I had an event for 4 days in February, and I thank God that I had the opportunity to celebrate his contributions to Hampton Roads. And I went to his homegoing service last Saturday. It was a good crowd there, but I think a lot of business folks should have been there to help celebrate his life and his legacy.
Hey, Glenn, tell the people who don't know what Herman Valentine did, the business he had during that time.
Matter of fact, he was a part of the skyline of Norfolk. This man owned a building that was 2 blocks long. It was the old J.C. Penney's building in downtown Norfolk. He was a part of the skyline identity of Norfolk. He employed over 2,000 people. He had contracts with Department of Navy, the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, Department of Energy, major corporations. He was one of the top 5 African-American owned businesses in the country. Unfortunately, something happened, and without us getting into the negative, but he was a leader amongst businesses in this region for, I know, close to 20 years.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, and a lot of people followed his model, after that, as far as becoming business people, So I was going to ask you about him. It's no wonder you brought that up. I didn't realize his funeral was yesterday. I thought he was already.
Yeah, this past Saturday, and I've established a very close relationship with his son, Herman Valentine Jr., and there's some things that they would be doing to make sure that his father's legacy does not go unnoticed and will be remembered. But let me say this to your listening audience, those that may be interested in entrepreneurship. We're in a season that we need entrepreneurs, and then we're in a season that we need African American and people of color who are not afraid of the destiny that's in them to step forward and become the entrepreneurs that they were meant to be. And this destiny was in them before they were even born. All they will be doing is fulfilling what's already in them. And we're in a season where we need strong individuals who are going to be committed to entrepreneurship so that our communities will change. We are the ones that are going to have to do something that affect our communities in a positive way. Our young folk, we need to be mentors to them, to help them learn how to do things, and then they would understand what's inside of them. Once we expose them to businesses, opportunities in particular trades that we are involved in our companies and businesses, we are the answer to the issues that are affecting our community once we step up and recognize that.
And Glenn, it's funny you said that on I have this Slim Nation thing, and this morning I was talking about that, how many non-Black business people are in the African-American communities, and how we probably need to step it up, just like you're saying, and keep our dollars within our community, and not knocking, other businesses flourishing, but and it's okay when they're there, but when you go into one of those businesses and they act like they take your business for granted and don't treat you like you should be, follow you around like you're going to steal something, and it's things that we could be doing for our own people. And that's what we need. When you go to college, don't just take business classes, take business development classes. Learn how to develop businesses and bring it back to your community, and not pushing them out, because those hair salons, that Black businessmen that try to get into that field are sort of pushed out because they got the market cornered there, the Asian business. And again, I'm not knocking the Asian businesses that come in, but it's room for us to come in our own communities too. So what you said there is dead on.
No question.
As far as being entrepreneurs,
no question,
bringing it back to your community.
Well, you know what, Slim?
Absolutely.
There is a different mindset of the Asian populations. They are more stick tourists and more family minute. I mean, they stick as a tribe more than we do, and we need to develop that.
But you know,
And
I
that's
saw,
what, you know, that's what,
go ahead, Glenn. I'm sorry.
you know, that's why we need to begin to expose our young people. My son, he is my co-host on my radio show, and I keep him close to me because we need our young people to understand what's at stake, what we need to be doing in our community. We don't need to just be takers from the community, but we need to be givers as well. We need to give back. We need to sow back into our community.
Amen. Amen. That's right.
If we want to see a difference in the young people and what they're doing, we got to expose them. We got to show them. So I commend Leah and those young folk that she does take trips with and does things with. I don't remember the name of her organization, but I want to commend her.
Sankofa.
She has been on some of our bus trips. We've been on bus trips together.
We have.
To the Capitol and
we saw the unveiling of Rosa Parks at the Capitol.
Absolutely, we sure did.
Yeah.
Very historical moment. Very historical moment.
And to Colonel's point, as far as the Asians or either other foreigners that might have businesses, you know, they're family orientated, and you know their businesses are generational. You know,
that's right.
And a lot of times with us, it'll stop at a certain generation because the kids don't want to be involved. A clear example I brought up this morning is the Mabry family. That's generational. I mean, you started out, it's some Mabry families that are my age, but now we're dealing with great grandkids that are still in the business. And that's what we need to do. When we have a business, it needs to be generational, because if the odds are already against us, you know, what 20% of Black businesses fail within a year. About half of us fail within 5 years because one thing, we don't get the kind of loans that other people get. And another thing, the generations drop off. You know, a generation gets old and they want to retire, and the kids don't, you know, they don't want to empower the business, and the business just goes away, as opposed to.
Not only with our businesses, all of our institutions fall into that trap, because, you know, I'm president of the Olympian Sports Club. And I'm the youngest, and I'm not that young anymore, but I'm the youngest member of that organization. That organization should be still flourishing, doing things in the community for our youth in terms of athletics and exposure. To take them on bus trips to the All-Star game, basketball game, football game. And I am now trying to recruit folk who are younger that want to understand what the history of that building is. Now, I'll be putting something out shortly because we've gotten our historical marker. So now, because it used to be Kiro School. It used to be a historical school, Kiro School. So we now have our historical marker coming. Is at the Foundry. So we're going to have a big celebration about that.
It has a historic designation? Or just the marker
so
right
that
now.
building can never be torn down.
So they can't tear it down because it came close. It came close.
It came close.
One of our city managers didn't know the history.
Didn't know the history. And matter of fact, man, I came back when I saw that. I came back to the Olympian Sports Club in 2017 is when the former city manager was trying to put the Olympian Sports Club out of that building. And I got back involved and got with council members, and we saved the Olympian Sports Club being in that building. And now our name is attached to that historical marker. Not only is it talking about Kiro School and Booker T. Washington's name is attached to it as well, but it's also we mentioned the Olympian Sports Club, which was founded in 1955. Jim Holly was the first president in 1955.
And those pictures in there, you know, tell a historic story.
Yeah. And you know, Glenn, I brought Joe Frazier there.
I know that I want you to find that picture so we can hang it up.
Yeah. When we were when I had the NAACP youth group, I brought Joe Frazier there, and he met the kids at the Olympian Sports Club and talked to them and shared information about how he journeyed to where he was at that time.
See the rich history?
It is rich history.
Yeah, since you're talking about rich history, you know, I got on my Bench Proud hat. So I have some pictures of me in the uniform at IC Northam. If and I'll be glad to lend them to you
In
Put in there.
the uniform, Glenn. He didn't say playing. He said in the uniform.
That's why I said in the
Okay,
uniform.
in
I wore the
uniform.
uniform. Not everybody can say that. But anyway, Glenn, I want to ask you about the Black Pages. You know, you had the Black Pages for a while, and how
Absolutely.
significant, how
I did that
significant
for
was
20
those
years
Black
as well.
Pages?
That was an awesome, in its season, it was a powerful tool for African Americans to know what other African Americans were doing in business, in the communities here in the Hampton Roads region. It was a tool that you can know who
That's
were
right.
the best doctors, best attorneys, contractors, plumbers, engineers. It provided history of what we were doing, what our skill sets were, and who the professionals in those vocations were.
Yeah, and I was in there, and I remember being contacted by people that I wouldn't normally be contacted by because I was in that book, you know.
Absolutely.
And they had questions. So it was a very significant guide for
It was
people
a
who
great
wanted
tool.
to give their
It was a great
businesses to
Why,
Black.
why did it stop, Glenn? Because it's really a great tool when you're looking for people who you can do business with. You know, what happened?
Technology.
Yeah, the
Technology,
phone.
technology is one point. Another point was sometimes some of us get to a point where we don't believe or feel we need each other, that we have arrived and doing business with just us isn't enough.
Right,
That's just
right.
being real. That's just real talk.
You're exactly
Real
right.
talk.
And you know, with technology, you can Google things now. You can, you know, go right to your smartphone and Google where the location of a particular industry is or a particular business you may need. But we didn't understand the importance of us being able to identify with one another in business, being able to contact one another. Just like we were talking about, I may have had a child that may want to be an engineer. I could go to the Black page and call an engineering company and say, my child intern with you. So those are things that we didn't understand. It just wasn't just about being in business, but about sharing the wealth and information and collaborating and communicating and understanding how we as a community, we need to stay connected and close.
And do we still do, I don't think we do it as much as we used to. Should the networking events that we used to have?
Oh, no
I mean,
question
I
that
thought
should
they were
continue.
powerful to
No
just
question.
get together with people that you didn't know that these people were engineers
Now,
or certain things, and just to be able to you know, have a little libations with them, you know, if you partake in that.
now Leo can communicate with you that I just did a 4-day event in February. You know, I invited you as well, James. You know, I just did a 4-day networking thing in February.
Yes, he did.
February was the month that we started our radio show. So we wanted to start in Black History Month of February, and we wanted to do something to celebrate a year of being in existence. So we had a meet and greet.
It was a wonderful
Thursday
event,
at the
Glenn.
book club on High Street. I'm sorry?
It was a wonderful event.
Thank you. And then on Friday, we had a meet and greet on Thursday. On Friday, we had a business panel discussion with Norfolk State students. Norfolk State helped host this for us at the new beautiful amphitheater in Brown Hall at Norfolk State. We had a panel discussion. We had the director of the Business School of Business. We had the economic development director of Norfolk, who's an African American. We had Brenda Andrews from the New Journal and Guide. We had Lisa Lucas Burke representing her and her mother's company. We had college students there. We had a fantastic event. And then on Sunday, we capped it all where we honored 11 business owners, including Herman Valentine Sr., Brenda Andrews. We celebrated 11 folk who were trailblazers in the Hampton Roads community. We had 120 people packed Roger Brown's banquet facility. And we're going to do it again in September. Next one, we're going to celebrate 11 new folk that have done some great things, that have been trailblazers in Hampton Roads, networking, people getting to know each other, exchange business cards. Hopefully, we'll be able to do business with one another. So we still do that. That's something that we cannot stop. We have to network.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you're going to do it again. So that's good to hear.
But
yes, sir.
For the listeners out there, could you tell them where's your how to find you on the radio and when?
Yes, we're on the air. We'll be on the air tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., 13:50 a.m. from 6 to 7, 13:50 a.m. And we bring on business leaders, entrepreneurs, persons that are doing strong and incredible things in the marketplace here in the region and outside of the region.
And those
13:50 a.m. every Friday.
Okay. And those call letters are GP, WGPL?
WGPL.
And
WGPL.
soon to be going FM, soon.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Soon to be going FM. Pretty soon to be going FM.
The radio station is going
Radio
FM.
station.
Oh yeah, the radio station is going FM, so that's going to give us that much more coverage. I couldn't hear you. Some reason we were breaking up.
Okay.
Yeah, the station is going FM.
Okay, and I will ask you, and you mentioned your son, and I watched you how you son as a young age, you took him everywhere with you, and I know some of those times he sat there and said, "Oh man, why am I here?" But but sometimes you have to do that as a parent, and you can tell all that you did with him as a young boy, where he is now as a young man, how serious he is about business.
And confident. He's super confident.
Super
Believe
confident.
me.
And all that is because you took him around to those things around adults and we talk about that sometimes. Parents need to be parents. Sometimes, you can't say, "I don't want to go, Dad." No, well, you're going because I think this is going to be good for you. You might not like it today, but it's going to pay off later on.
Absolutely. I knew the support that I had from my older brothers who were my role models, and I wanted my son to have every opportunity to be the best human being that he could be. So I was going to do everything I could to expose him. God has given me some unusual opportunities, and I didn't want him to be able to miss out on some things based on what I have learned. So I know God didn't put me in some of the circles and establish the relationship that I have for nothing. And I wanted my son to have every benefit to be as successful in life at whatever he chooses to do. And I just want to make sure that he was exposed so that he would think differently.
Yeah.
Not that he's better than any other young man, but I want him to be able to think, as Leah was saying, I want him to be able to think with confidence that he could accomplish any goal that he sets for himself if he does it the right way.
Yeah. And all that starts at home. And then when they become grown, you planted that seed and you give him direction, and then it's up to him, which direction he wants to go.
And you feel comfortable that you've done all that you could do as a parent.
Indeed.
To prepare your child.
It goes back to exposure, and I think exposure is 9/10 of the game, and we don't expose our kids as much as other races do.
And plus with Glenn as well, Glenn's wife had some health challenges. So his son had witnessed Glenn being a caretaker for his mother and being compassionate for his mother. Now, that gives a lot to a young man to see his father take that role on. So, Glenn, I commend you because I know what great works you did for your wife. I know how compassionate you were with her and how you took care of her. I mean, you were just such a blessing. And it's good for a son to see a father in that respect. And I commend you. I do.
I appreciate that. And it's so interesting that you say that, Leah. My son has watched me do that twice. I took care of my brothers lived in New York. My mother and father.
That's right.
My parents were married 59 years when my father died, and when my father died, I had to. My son was three months old. 3 months old, and I had to start living with my mother. When my son, I had a new wife and a 3-month-old son and my cousin would come relieve me one night a week when my father died till my mother got sick. And unfortunately, we had to put her in a home because she needed round-the-clock care. Mm-hmm. So as Josh got older, when he became 5 and 6, he would wheel my mother to the church at the nursing home and wheel the other ladies.
That's
So
right.
so God has a unique plan for him. We don't know what it's going to be, but I know God has a unique plan for Josh because he's allowed Josh to witness things, and the little ladies at the nursing home would come and watch Josh mimic what the entertainment would do. I bought him a guitar, and he would go up front and pat his foot like he was playing a guitar and mimic what all the entertainers were doing. And he was a part of the celebration on that Tuesday night. Every Tuesday, they look for of Josh being there as well as whoever the entertainment was. So Josh definitely has a unique path ahead of him because God has allowed him to witness compassion, caring, and working with people.
Yes, indeed.
And you know, I hadn't seen him in a while, and one time I was working and he came in the store and I was talking to him, and I remember being so impressed by this young man. And then when he told me his name, Francis, I said, well, the only other Francis I knew was a cardiologist, Dr. Francis, that was Black. And I said, who's your father? And he told me, you know, it was you. And I said, but I had already been impressed by him, not seeing him in a long time. I just remember he was a little boy. And when I saw him this time, he was like in college. He was in college.
Right.
And we just stood there and talked. I said, man, this guy, he's going places. And then I found out that his last name was Francis, and it had to be related to you. Turn out it was his son.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I want to commend you guys for this podcast and what you guys are doing. It is needed in our community. And man, thank you guys for allowing me to come on. And not that you're rushing me out, but I just want to commend you for what you're doing and the guests that you have, so that our community can stay fed, our community can stay exposed, and our community can stay on the cutting edge of what's going on. And it's because of organization and individuals like you three and what you all have done in the marketplace and in our communities, what helps us to be prepared for what's coming down the pipeline that we sometimes are not even aware of. But because of what you guys do and affording us information and knowledge, we are better prepared to face some of the challenges that will come our way.
Well, indeed. Thanks, Glenn. That's our
we have
mission.
to give that right back to you, Glenn.
Yeah,
Yes.
indeed.
Because you're doing the same. You're doing the same thing. So
And always have. And now you have an even bigger platform with the radio show, to reach a lot more people. And, and I want to ask you this question before, and give you time to talk about that before you go off. But I want to say also, we're going to have to bring you back because we're going to have to talk politics because, we go way back with politics.
Yes, indeed.
And, we could spend a whole show on politics, the history we've had together. Both of us at one time were contemplating running for city council and, those times, but we figured our best role would be working for the candidates. And we had a lot of success making sure candidates were elected. So but anyway, we'll come back at another time and talk about that. But I wanted to ask you, go ahead, Leah.
No, go ahead, Slim.
Well, I just wanted to ask him, and then you can say this. If you were put in front of, and you probably have done this, a bunch of college students, business majors, what would be the message that you would give to them, including your struggle or your journey and what's needed? And I think you kind of touched on that earlier, but I'm gonna ask you again. But before you do that, Leah.
No, let him do that. And
okay.
Then if we have time, then I'll chime in.
Okay, sure.
It is no question. It is good to be able to help a organization or company advance. But if you ever want to have the ultimate impact on the community, find a way to create an entity that you can employ people, that you can have an impact on the community which you live for yourself. I believe in working an honest job. It is no question. It helps the economy. But if you want to have the ultimate impact on the economy, create something that you can do that will impact your community yourself.
Be your own boss. Hire people. Be your own boss and control the narrative.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. But Glenn, before we get off, can you address one thing for me? A lot of young folks, and actually a lot of people ask that are thinking about starting a business. And one of the roadblocks is having enough capital to buy inventory, hire people, So when we look at what would be your suggestion for people of color, how to get a business plan and also to go back and look at loans to get capital? And is there any micro lending kind of organizations out there that specialize in minorities?
Let me say this before, let me share this before I even address that directly. Number one, you got to know your craft. You got to make sure that there's a need for whatever it is that you're trying to do. If there's a need for whatever you're trying to do, and you understand that industry front, backwards, sideways, everything that you can know about it, you will find a customer base that you need to help sustain you while you try to find funding sources. And there are funding sources, there are grants that fund businesses. Do your homework, know the industry, everything about that industry. Make sure that where you're going to establish that business, that the need is there. Because if the need is there, you will find funding sources. But make sure you understand the industry. You have developed a strong business plan model that you can measure your growth and understand it. Again, know everything about it. And then you will be sources where you can find and get funding, but understand your industry, know it to the best of your ability, and even beyond that. I hope that addresses your question.
Yes.
Once you establish that business, be the consummate professional at all times. Be professional in what you do. The services that you provide, how you provide the services, how you entertain those who are coming into your business, so that people will continue to come to you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Awesome.
Wow.
And don't let failure deter you.
Deter you.
Many people that are millionaires failed many times before they were successful. And you have to factor that in. You might not make it the first time, or you might have to sort of alter your direction a little bit, but stick-to-itiveness is the key.
That's right. Stay the course.
Stay the course, along with all the things you just said. Know your craft. Basic economics, supply and demand.
That's right. Let me say this: Henry Ford's first Model T came off the assembly line. It didn't have a reverse gear in it. Henry Ford filed bankruptcy more than 3 times.
Yeah.
Henry Ford filed bankruptcy more than 3 times. And we know what history says about him in terms of what he has done.
Indeed. Well, any other questions or last minute comments from our host?
No, at last minute, I want you to once again tell people about the Umoja Festival, times, date, places, and all of that.
Okay. Again, the Umoja Festival is May the 26th through the 29th, which is Memorial Day weekend. They have Boys to Men. It was the national entertainment on Saturday. Lots of excellent local talents will be performing all through the 4-day events at the outside staging area that the city puts up. And on Saturday, again, Boys to Men's a national act. You can come out there with your blankets and your chairs. There'll be lots of vendors out there selling their goods and services. It is a great environment. It is a jewel in the city of Portsmouth, right there on the right at the harbor at the Union Bank in Telos. It's going to be a great weekend. Please come out and enjoy yourself. Listen to some good music, interact, fellowship. Again, we're going to have you guys are going to be real pleased with the product that we will put out there in reference to the Umoja Festival Souvenir Journal. It's a quality product, very diverse in terms of the corporations and small businesses that have participated this year. We're real pleased what we were able to get done.
And you did get the IC Norcom alumni ad.
Excuse me?
I said, you did get the IC Norcom alumni ad. On full page.
Absolutely, no question about it.
Absolutely.
No
Full
question about
page.
it. No question about it. Full
Okay.
page in color. Very nice job. Very nice ad.
Well, while you're preparing to go to the Emoji Festival, before going to the Emoji Festival, in the morning, you can come and join us at Battery for the IC Norcom Alumni Golf Tournament, which will take place that morning at Battery, and then go down to the Emoji Festival and enjoy the fun down there. So we're looking forward, Glenn, to joining you down to the Emoji Festival. Looking forward to the souvenir booklet. And I tell you what, as hard as you work, man, we may have to hire you to help us do the Norcom Alumni souvenir journal.
Now,
So you're the hardest working man in the business.
I have produced it.
I didn't hear you.
In the past, some past years, I have produced that book for the Alumni Association. I have done that.
They have to have a little chat with you, okay?
Okay. I look forward to it if you need me.
Okay. But guys, Glenn, this has been wonderful. I wish you great success on your radio show. I wish you great success in everything that you put your hands on. Give your family my regards, and it's great having you on Portsmouth Coffee Talk, and I look forward to great things happening at the old Key Road School Olympian Sports Club. Keep us informed as to what's going to take place there once you get your historical marker up, and just what your plans are.
Will do. Thank you guys again for having me on your show, and continue the great work that you guys are doing in the community. And I look forward to collaborating with you guys sometime in the near future.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah,
and we appreciate you. And Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice,
our community,
in our future.
And we salute you.
We salute you,
Thanks
Glenn.
a lot. Appreciate
Thank you guys so much. The same here.
All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Have a
We'll
good
see you
evening.
next time,
All right.
brother.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you on Monday when we will have a local author here. It's James Allman, a Truxton, Norcom grad, and he'll be here. He's written 2 books of poetry, and that's going to be interesting. You all remember going back and having to read that poetry. Some of them caught on and some of them you didn't understand, but he's going to be here Monday. Local guy to talk about the books he wrote, the 2 books he's written about poetry. And we'll see you then. Thanks a lot. We appreciate you.
See you then.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Oh, it's up to me. Hold on.
Good night.